in YouTube land. If you're still listening to us on YouTube, get over to algofactory.tech. Cowboy, flash that QR code. Flash it, Cowboy, like you're Michael Jackson at a playground.
Oh, jeez. No.
Anyway, folks, that's the QR code for you to join. The link is also in the description box. Join us, because guess what? Today I have a little bit of drip, a little bit of inside information that I will not be mentioning anywhere, not even on Rogue. So go check it out. Algofactory.tech. And with that being said, Cowboy, let's get into it, man.
Heck yeah. Yeah, we have data today. Data. What does he say on that Sherlock Holmes movie? Something about data. Give me bricks and I'll provide the mortar, or give me bricks and I'll make a wall. I don't know, whatever.
Something about caviar and crackers, I think it was. You bring the caviar, I'll bring the crackers. I don't know. Something like
something about like give me bricks and I'll make a wall. But I'll throw up the link to here. Not a link, but really the URL. I'll put that in the chat. Throw it up on the screen in case you are not a QR code type. But
why wouldn't you be? It's like all the rage.
I know, right? But yeah, we're over at www.algofactory.tech, and what we do is we help people. We give for the first 30 minutes of our daily show. So from 8:30 EST to 9, we do a free live lab for beginners. And what we do over at algofactory.tech is we help to teach people how to build trading algorithms. And an algorithm is simple. It doesn't necessarily need to require that you are coding with supercomputers or anything like that. It's just you're building a trading plan. And anybody who is a successful trader is most likely, almost guaranteed, they're using some form of algorithm. Like when you drive to the store, that's an algorithm. You go to this street, you take a left, you go to that street, you take a right. You just simply, whenever a condition arises, a preset condition, then you take an action. So that's that. Just a quick reminder that nothing we say is to be used or construed as investment advice. You got to do your own research, and we recommend that you talk to a licensed investment advisor before investing your money, because you can't lose your money doing that. Okay. So all that said, feel free to ask us questions in the chat. If you're over on YouTube, our private members do have priority. So if they have something that they want to see or to learn about, they're going to be the ones to dictate that. But of course, you're welcome to ask questions in the YouTube chat. And oftentimes those questions are really valuable, and I will use those as well in the lesson here. Let me go ahead and spread the link around. Give me just a moment here. Going to send this out, spread it far and wide. Let's see here. And while I'm doing that, just a reminder, the price for Algo Factory, right? That's promotional. Not going to last forever. Those who get in at $49.99 will be able to keep $49.99 at that tier of service. Even if the price for said tier goes up, you will have that grandfathered in as long as your membership does not lapse. Okay. So today we do have some data coming out. Let's see here. We'll take a look at that first. Just got to share the screen. Give us a moment. Entire screen. There we go. The unemployment claims came out slightly higher than expected. Okay. Very slightly. I'd say that they were so close to expected.
You being not on caffeine.
It sucks, dude. Yeah, just breaking off. It's been like 2 weeks, no caffeine. Plus, I've got a small child and a pregnant wife, so sleep is a commodity sometimes that I miss. We were hanging out last night, and usually we like to watch a little TV at night. We limit our TV to about an hour a day or less. That's how we do, and we don't let the baby see any TV at all, ever.
You have to take your child as soon as they're small, and you have to put them in front of the television. That is the proper thing to do.
Oh, I'm sorry. Am I not programming my child properly?
You're not. I'm going to report you to the Ministry of Truth.
The Ministry of Tooth.
Of Truth. I haven't had enough coffee this morning either. I'm
Clearly.
sipping away here.
Yes, we got VM in the YouTube chat.
Delicious.
And then of course we got over in the private chat. We got Valley Girl, Mavbet, Ray, and I think Valley Girl is also VM. Got Valley Girl on both sides of the chat, which is really cool. Ray says Aloha Snack Bar. Mavbet says Morning Peeps, and yeah, morning breakfast of trading, huh, Valley Girl? You gonna do some trading today?
Right.
Well, the unemployment claims, they essentially came out as expected. I mean, very, very close to the number that was predicted. So it didn't, really shake the markets very much. Like I'm in an AUD USD trade, and essentially the price action you're seeing as a result of that is nothing. It's let's see here. Hold on a minute. So just this, let me zoom this in, by the way, make the figures a little easier to see. And we'll move that out, and we will move this open. Okay, now that the screen is properly oriented, let me see. It is now 6:40. Basically, no price action. You're looking at a 5-minute chart. So each of these candles is 5 minutes worth of price action. And what you're seeing here, the reason it's green and blue is because I took a trade, and I talked about it yesterday. But there was a head and shoulders trade, and by the way, we have Chowell. I've been calling him Chow. That's Chairman Powell. He's going to be talking again today. He did a what do you call it? Testimony. He does that once a month. Basically, I don't know. He just talks about what the Fed is going to do, and just pretty much talks about general stuff. As far as I know, unemployment, inflation, the typical things. And I think his comments yesterday said that inflation, that we have a long way to go. He has very hawkish comments, and that's something that should be driving the dollar up. Yeah, I guess you could say, the dollar actually went more or less down during that whole conversation. So eventually it, everything normalized. The market's not really reacting to the Fed speak. The trade I took is actually head and shoulders trade, and it's being very stubborn. So yesterday at 6:30 was the speech, and that's when price actually went really, when the dollar got weak, when in reality, on the hawkishness of the speech, you would have thought that it would have gotten strong, but it actually got weak until I went against my trade, which is unexpected. The trade almost did go to this first kind of area, the first where I would have taken target, or what I would have taken some profit, this first target, but it just kind of didn't want to go there. So this head and shoulders is being stubborn. Although last night, right here, it almost went to my stop out. So the back of this blue box here, the top of this box is where I would be out of the trade, out of loss. It was a pretty small trade because I got in early. I got in before the head and shoulder broke the neckline, and all that stuff, for all my beginners who are listening. If you want to learn a little bit more about head and shoulders, necklines, how these trades are taken, why this trade does what it does, and how it's done, just look at yesterday's live, the live lab. Like basically the same thing, starts at 8:30, and this whole trade is explained. So now this was an exercise in discipline, though, because had I freaked out and sold up here, just, I want to get this before I stop out, then, it went back into profit overnight, and it's right now going back towards profit. So now, if the algorithm does tell me that I need to get out, so I do have an algorithm by which I trade, I have rules that I follow, then I would get out, but I just have not gotten that signal yet, right? And I'm watching. So that's that trade, and you all pretty much saw me yesterday get into that. Bitcoin has been having a lot of fun. I've got Valley Girl pointing that out. So with Bitcoin, there was a bit of technical reason for Bitcoin to move up. I mean, it wasn't the strongest technical reason, but there was certainly not no reason for it to necessarily go down. It was just kind of range locked, and it had been range locked for a long time. I'm not really a big fan of saying, "Oh, the news came out and that's why it went up." I mean, yeah, the news can supercharge a move. Strong enough news can cause a big move, like a strong enough event, right? But the news that came out that caused Bitcoin to go up, or at least that supercharged a move that was already going to happen, had to do with I think it was like Fidelity, and I mean, Fidelity's already been involved, but what was it, that wrote the news that came out yesterday? Oh, let's see here. I got
BlackRock,
it in
Spot BTC.
No, that's it was another one like that. I have it. Let's see here. Private risk going secret. No, I'm looking through our Discord, so I put it on there. But essentially, it's just another fund that's getting into BTC. Here it is.
There's several. I'm actually.
I got it right
about
here.
that a little later. Well, go ahead.
Oh, you're okay. So you'll we're
yeah,
not going to talk to
you could mention the article. Go ahead. You can talk about that.
All right, yeah. So you might have some. It's Thursday Drips Day in our private group. So on Thursday, first of all, we got a shout out from Joseph Magdalene. So what's up, Joseph, over on YouTube? So Thursday is what we call Drips Day, and Drips Day is where the gorilla comes on and gives us a lot of high level info. Like you said in the very beginning of the show, info that we would not talk about, not even on the main road show that we do, at 11 EST over on the road channel. So only in Algo Factory does that information come out, and that's coming out today. And it might be some background, some of the higher level stuff, but the article on the journal, just expand this. Crypto exchange backed by Citadel Securities, Fidelity, and Schwab starts operations. So EDX is the name of it.
Yep.
Now it does say here that it won't handle customers' digital assets, so it's not custodial, is what that sounds like to me, and or directly serve individual investors. So I'm wondering how that would work, and it sounds like a derivative to me. So either way, though, you do have a crypto exchange backed by some major players right there. So it might be that they are brokering it. It might be that they have some form of crypto security, whatever, crypto derivative. It's not clear yet. I'd have to get deeper into it. But this on the heels of the news from BlackRock getting in. Now, there is some information out there. There's been a lot of talk. BlackRock has this, spot ETF coming out, and that to me is okay. There is some information I have that it may very well not be a spot ETF. Okay. And I know that back in 2017, 2018, everybody was stuck on, if the ETF comes out, it's going to go to the moon. Or 2019, that's ETF's going to send crypto to the moon. ETF. All you ever heard about was ETF. And ETFs came out and like nothing happened. Of course, they were not a spot ETF. So they ended up being like basically, an ETF based on derivatives, which means that they're not buying the actual underlying asset to hold. Okay. So it means that the money, the big money for that ETF is not going into crypto itself necessarily. So I did find this tweet from a guy named Joe Consorti, and what he's saying is, now I need to verify this, but this right here, this data on the screen that you're seeing, is actually from the filing, the SEC filing. Okay, so what he's saying is that he says, not the filing in the white, but his actual text. This guy Joe. He says it's not an ETF. It doesn't have the daily redemption mechanism that is so desirable about an ETF. Bitcoin will be added and redeemed from the trust in baskets of 40,000. So he's saying basically it's going to have the same discount premium to NAV. That's nominal account value, I think. Issues as the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust has. NAV. I think that means nominal account value. Forgive me if I do not get that right. Or nominal asset value. So I think that might be proper. But what it is on the filing itself, I believe it says, if the process of creation and redemption of baskets encounters any anticipated difficulties, The possibility for arbitrage transactions by authorized participants intended to keep the price of the shares closely linked to the price of Bitcoin may not exist. And as a result, price of the shares may fall or otherwise diverge from NAV. So what that means, okay? So redemption of baskets has to do with when redeeming a stock means that like you're going to sell it and get your money back, right? So if the process of buying and selling these baskets of Bitcoin doesn't happen properly, right? If they can't sell it right, if the liquidity is too low, I mean, there's a number of reasons why there might be difficulties. It might be a regulatory issue, could be a lot of things, and that means that arbitrage transactions may not exist. So arbitrage basically is where if you have Bitcoin at a certain price and another exchange has it at a different price that might be lower or higher, and the market price is closer to that other price, then what you can do is you can basically sell your Bitcoin and then you can get like a small profit and then buy it back at a more appropriate price, or the other way around. You might actually have to buy it and then sell. But either way, what you're doing is you're kind of linking, you're doing these transactions to bring the account closer to the asset value. Okay, so in a sense, what's going on here is that this is not that different from like Grayscale in the end. And the price of shares of this quote unquote ETF can actually diverge from the value of the asset itself. So this is not necessarily a spot ETF according to this guy because of the redemption issues. There's going to be a discount and premium to NAV. Okay, so let's not get too excited. In this case, it does seem that they are holding and buying the actual asset. So it's in baskets of 40,000. I imagine that's 40,000 Bitcoin and not $40,000.
40,000 Bitcoin.
Yeah, so that in and of itself is kind of, it does look good for the asset. It means that BlackRock will be, purchasing Bitcoin in baskets of 40,000 each. That's the good news. So we'll see how it works. We'll see if it actually does. The market seemed to like it. This is a 3 strong, bullish bars. I shouldn't say bars. These are candles. Now we do have a bit of resistance here at the top. Okay. And that so far price has not been able to break that. From a liquidity standpoint, let's take a look at Bitcoin and where all the liquidity nodes are. All the liquidity is to the downside. So what you're looking at here, and again, for the newbies, this is an instrument that I use, or a tool, I should say, that I use, where the price of Bitcoin is this dotted line, and these clusters are liquidity. This is where a lot of stop losses are, or liquidation points actually, for people who are in the leveraged Bitcoin market. And in the, anywhere from say 27 to 32, it's all pretty even, but there's a ton of liquidity on the downside. So what does that mean? Say 27 down to 24. Well, what it actually means is that people have gone long in the derivatives market. They are excited. They got the BlackRock news and they're long. And so what they've done was they entered probably, let's just say they entered like right here, right? And their stop losses they're actually, it's not really stop loss, liquidation. The price, if it goes down to anywhere in this blue box, that's where they're going to be liquidated. So all the Moon Boys got the news on BlackRock and Fidelity, Citadel, and they all, I'm not saying every single person, but a lot of people did this. And the problem is that this is a leveraged play. Okay, so a lot of leverage just entered the market. So instead of going to like Coinbase or wherever and buying Bitcoin, what they did was they went on to a place like BitMEX or a leveraged exchange, and then they borrowed money to augment their trade. But when you borrow money to augment the trade, then that trade is no longer all your money, and you have to have a certain amount of your own money in the trade in order to keep that trade alive. Now, if the trade goes against you, okay, if the trade goes up, it's great. It's because it's like you're spending $100 to trade 1,000, right? But if the trade goes against you, you're making money 10 times as quick in that case. But if it goes against you, you're losing money 10 times as fast, right? So if it was your own money, then it wouldn't matter. You just get out when you get out. But now that it's not all your money, you need to have a certain amount of money in the trade to keep it alive. And if you're losing money 10 times as fast, as you get into this area, the exchanges, they're going to liquidate you because they're not going to lose money, right? They're going to eat up your money. But as your money runs out, that borrowed money is not going to, that's not your money. And the exchange will literally stop you out early and liquidate you. And it actually costs a lot more than a stop out. So all that area in the blue is where that would happen, according to this chart of Kingfisher. There's a lot going in from like 27,000 down to 24 and even below. If price makes its way down to 27,000 right now, then all of a sudden, a lot of these trades are going to liquidate or stop out because, people could have stop losses on those. And then that's going to force a cascade of sells on the leveraged exchanges. And as that happens, price will get forced down lower and lower and lower because a stop loss is just a sell order. Okay. So, for the beginners out there that it went over your head, and I know that there's a lot there for beginners, understand that if price goes below, say, 27,200, if price kind of ventures into that area, there's going to be a lot of downward pressure because of the derivatives market. Okay, that's what that all means. So what I would be looking at right now is what happens to price right here at this $31,000 area. Okay, so, and why would I be looking at that? Well, that's where price went to before, and it made a pivot point. So it made structure. Okay, so today's conversation basically is going to be around structure for the next few minutes before we move over to the private group. So why does structure matter? Well, basically from if you're going to pretend you are a market participant, let's just say you bought your Bitcoin at back here in this area. You bought right here at 22,000, and then 30,000 is like kind of a nice round number. So a lot of people sold up in this area, and they got out of Bitcoin around 30,000, 31,000, and then price went down. Okay, so some of those same people that bought over here, they're like, hey, price went down low again. It's going to go back up, so let's buy it. And then, of course, the news came out, and they bought it. Now, a lot of people who saw this say, hey, we made money at 30,000 last time. We're going to sell it there again. And then price has some downward pressure, right? So that's, this kind of situation is one reason why price will want to go down at 30,000. Another reason is you have people who got excited and they bought way up here. And then they, price went down and it went against them. So now they're at a loss of, let me see, if they bought around 30, 25, 6. So they're down like 15%. So they're like, hey, you know what? Let's just hold on. Price might come back to where we got in and I can get out at a break even, right? It's like, I'm not losing any money. If I get out, then okay, I'm not losing and I can look for another trade. And so they panic out, or they get out. Maybe it's not a panic. Maybe it's a measured, thought out move, but then price is going to have downward pressure yet again, because they're getting out before they lose any money, right? So that's why structure matters. That's why where there's been a bit of, in any of these pivots that you see, that's where mostly you're going to see a fair amount of price action is around these pivots, right? So because of that, that's why price will react kind of around these areas. And it's another reason why price gets attracted to these areas and then reacts kind of at them as well. So that being the case, looking at Bitcoin, what I would be watching is whether or not price can break $31,000. That's kind of the number right now that everybody's looking at. Now, if price does break it, then what we might look for is whether or not price can continue up with some follow through. Now, price tends to do this. It'll break, and then it'll come down and test that same area and then go back up. It tends to do that. Bitcoin is the one asset, one of a few, that actually will just go up and moon up to the freaking top of the universe and not come back to test. That does happen. However, on a calendar aspect, judging, based on a calendar, I wouldn't expect that right now. It could happen, but just based on the 4-year cycle, that doesn't seem likely, but it certainly can happen. And if price breaks up past 31 and has any follow through, then I'd be looking for some resistance around that 43 to 48,000. I know that sounds exciting. I know everybody's like, oh, 40, yeah, Bitcoin's bull market again. And it's possible. It can happen. It's just historically, it's not that likely. But we are in a different time in history now. We've got inflation. In fact, if I can parse the data out on our Thursday show on Rogue, I'm going to talk a little bit more about how we've never even seen quantitative tightening. They talk about it like it happened, but in reality, it didn't. And I'm going to see if I can parse that out properly. But for now, we are at the end of the beginner live lab. So, again, I would be looking for price to break 31,000. And one last bit before we flip over and the gorilla gives us the gorilla send off. What also can happen and often does with Bitcoin is price can break a resistance and all the moon boys get excited and they buy. And they buy, like, say, right here as price breaks. They think it's going to moon out. And then it even does a little bit more to get people excited. But what's really going on here is that the big money is filling their short orders up here. And then they crush it back down. That would not surprise me either. So again, as I trade, I play it level by level. I have algorithms that help me kind of determine what may happen, and it filters a lot of bad trades out. Over at algofactory.tech, we do teach that, how I do that, and we'll teach you to develop your own algorithms. So please, you can use that QR code on the screen, use your camera to take a shot of that, or you can actually go over to www.algofactory.tech and come check out what we're doing. It's all on the website, and you can also email us at the contact us and ask us questions. Gorilla.
All right, folks. Listen, all you guys in YouTube land watching us for free, join the live lab. Join algofactory.tech. We're going to show you how to, guys, not only trade. My God, I sound like Joe Biden. I need more coffee here.
Gotta save the queen, man.
Gotta save the queen. We're not only going to show you how to trade, but we're going to show you how to build these algorithms, and that's the difference maker. That's the difference maker. That and the fact that we have somebody who does the coding in-house, who's going to help you hardwire this code directly into whatever platform you're utilizing, and it's going to trade on your behalf. Learn how to do this. We're giving you the keys to the kingdom, damn it. Take advantage of it. algofactory.tech. Join us. I'll see you all over there.